we've got a viewing booked on a property which is absolutely phenomenal. It's as close as you can get to a chateau in the south of France without the price tag of a chateau. It's 350 square meters of history.
Le jardin fleurit sous la lune brille. Chaque étoile scintille comme un doux sourire. Les notes s'élèvent, flottent dans l'air. Une symphonie de souvenirs.
Welcome
si sincères.
to Grasse. Grasse is the perfume capital of the world. And look at the beauty of this place. When people think the south of France, they often think Nice, Cannes, Antibes, Monaco, but they forget it really started here, hundreds of years ago, with perfume and in Grasse. It is one of the most underrated areas of pure beauty on the Côte d'Azur, and I really can't wait to show you around it. Today, we've got a viewing booked on a property which is absolutely phenomenal. It's an old Perfume Bastide, one of the very few remaining in the area that has not been fully converted into apartments and can be restored back to its old, beautiful, prestigious Provençal self. It's just phenomenal. It's as close as you can get to a chateau in the south of France without the price tag of a chateau. It's 350 square meters of history, built in 1890 and owned by one of the perfume families in Grasse since its build, and it's ready to change hands to someone new who's willing to take on the work of such an exquisite project. Now, first of all, I'm going to show you Grasse town, why I believe it's a good place to invest, and what you get for your money in Grasse, what to expect in the area, and just look at it. What a perfect sunny day. Follow me if you're interested in seeing what Grasse has to offer. Let's go. And today I've brought someone very special. You might recognise her. You see her.
Hello.
Hello.
Oh, that's a bit close, man. We're in sunny Grasse today.
Sunny Grasse.
Got beautiful sunshine.
It's now the spring, I would say. It's mimosa season.
It's mimosa season, yeah. You'll see the bright yellow coverings of the trees in bloom in the mountains, which is just gorgeous, but not so nice if you suffer with hay fever, because it leaves a bit of a coating of dust, yellow dust everywhere, and Nancy, our daughter, suffers very bad with hay fever, and this is the worst season for her.
It is.
But it looks stunning. Shall we go?
Shall we go into Grasse and get a little bit of something to eat?
Let's go.
Situated in the hills of the French Riviera, just above Cannes, is Grasse. Grasse is a town with an incredible mix of history, culture, and long-term investment potential. While many people immediately think of the coastline when they think about the Riviera, places like Grasse offer something slightly different. You get more space, you get more character, and you definitely get better value for money. Grasse is internationally known as the perfume capital of the world. The town's relationship with perfume production dates back to the 17th century, when the region's climate proved perfect for growing flowers used in fragrance making, particularly jasmine, rose, and lavender. Over time, the town became the center of the global perfume industry, and that heritage has left a lasting mark on the architecture. Many of the larger homes around the hills of Grasse especially the traditional Bastide and bourgeois villas. They were built in the 18th and 19th centuries by the wealthy Perfume families. These homes often feature thick stone walls, high ceilings, large shutters, and generous plots of land, giving them a sense of character and permanence that's difficult to replicate through modern construction. From a location perspective, Grasse is extremely well positioned. It sits 20 minutes from Cannes, around about 40 minutes from the Nice Côte d'Azur airport, and 45 minutes from Nice itself. That proximity to the airport is particularly important for international buyers, second homeowners, and tourists who want to access to the Riviera lifestyle without necessarily being right on the busy coastline. Transport connections have also improved significantly in recent years. The reopening and modernisation of the railway line between Grasse and Cannes has made commuting into the coastal towns far easier, linking the town directly into the wider regional network that runs along the Riviera. The connectivity allows residents to enjoy a quieter hilltop environment while still being able to reach the coast quickly. Another positive factor, at the moment, Grasse are investing a lot into their urban regeneration and historic centre. Over the last decade, significant efforts have been made to restore historic buildings, improve public spaces, and revitalise the old town. This has gradually attracted new restaurants, cultural spaces, and boutique businesses, helping to bring back more life into the centre while preserving its historical character. Now, from an investment perspective, what makes Grasse particularly interesting is the price differential compared to the coastal towns. Property prices per square metre are generally a lot lower than in places like Cannes or Antibes, yet renovated homes with character can still command strong resale values, especially if they have land, views, and historic features. There's also a scarcity factor to consider. Properties like 19th century Bastide simply aren't being built anymore. When you combine that with the region's climate, the international appeal of the Riviera, and the increasing demand for character homes away from the hustle and bustle of the coastal areas, it creates an interesting opportunity for a value-add project. Of course, projects like this come with challenges. Older properties often require significant renovation, structural upgrades, and careful planning. But when approached correctly, the combination of history, location, and scarcity can make towns like Grasse one of the more compelling places on the Riviera to look for long-term opportunities. And that is exactly why we're here today. Not just to admire the property itself, but to understand the potential that places like this can offer. So, let's go. Really looking forward to showing you this property. Here we are outside the front of the property. Look at that. Absolutely stunning. I can't actually believe how many sets of shutters it has. You know, when you move to France, this is kind of what you imagine you're going to buy. You see all the chateau programs. This is exactly what you imagine, especially in the south of France as well. This property is an absolute statement. Gorgeous. And then out the front, you've got the world's most fantastic view of the Côte d'Azur. This is Grasse, out over the hills. Not a sea view on this property, but you don't need to see when you can see this. Now you've seen the property from the front, let's go and take a look inside and see what treasures are in there waiting for us. There's only older properties like this that can give you this sort of feel, I think. Straight into the property, you're struck with an original black and white tile floor. Absolutely gorgeous there. Now, you do walk into the back area and you can see on the floor there are the terracotta tiles. They are very common in the area, and this is the old staff kitchen. On the roof you've got a little bit of cladding there, which was not an original feature, probably added it in the 70s, as that's when this Bastide was last renovated and separated into 3 apartments. Now you've just walked through the staff pantry area. They are original pantry cupboards, and into a sitting room with an original herringbone parquet floor, which I would be looking to keep were we to invest in this property. The whole property does need gutting though. As you can see, those light fittings are a little bit neither modern nor antique. They're somewhere in between. And a lot of the property is like that because it was renovated in the 70s and 80s. You do have original features such as that archway there, which is nice. I would definitely be retaining that. You've got vaulted ceilings there above the dining area. The ceilings are very high, possibly 3.5 meters. Now, you've got cast iron radiators and a central heating system, which is actually hooked up to city gas, which I believe is cheaper than running an oil boiler, talking from my experience. Now here we are on the deuxième étage, or the 2nd floor, which is the entrance from the rear of the property that you drive into, as you saw at the beginning of this property viewing. It's also separated currently into a top floor apartment. As I mentioned previously, it's not that this has been permanently separated into 3 separate apartments, because you can actually still access the whole property through the stairwell. You can see that the terracotta tiles do continue throughout this property. I have seen this type of flooring polished and finished before, and it looks great. You can cover it up. What I would recommend is that you do not remove the tiles and remove the shap from below, because the shap or floor screed is usually put in a semi-dry mix. So when you pull up the tiles, you actually remove all of the semi-dry mix too, and before you know it, you're trying to get rid of around about 20 tons of waste from site. So just a little tip for you there: if you do buy a property of this type, do not take up the floor, in my opinion, unless you are ready to pay for the waste to be removed. Continuing on this floor, you've seen built-in furniture with the arches, which is common in this property. Now, would you keep them or would you change them? Not sure about that. Here is another bedroom. You can see that on the back wall there, they have had an issue with the roof, but we were assured that it is fixed and that problem is sorted. Now, we're going to go up to the attic space, which in this property is rather large. There you go, mind your head. Now you could convert this into one big bedroom. You do have standing space in the centre, and you could still keep the storage space along the eaves. It would be recommended, obviously, to insulate everything, although this type of property used to be insulated by the floor there. They used to use the tiles as the insulation. It's not really effective in a modern property, hence why we use rock wool everywhere and we don't use tiles anymore. Look at the views out this window though. That is Grasse. Beautiful. Back down onto the 2nd floor. Here you go, more of the built-in furniture. This property does have a number of fireplaces and they are still functioning, but I would probably look to change them, as nobody really uses a fireplace in a bedroom anymore. Here we are now, walking down the main central staircase onto the first floor, into a bathroom recently renovated, needs stripping out and redoing and bringing up to date. This is common for all the bathrooms in this property, in fact the entire property. It needs stripping back to bare plaster and redoing. There are a few temporary features as well, such as that staircase there, that need removing if we were to turn this back into one big residence. Now, if you look carefully in this room, you can see where they've removed some of the plaster on the corniche. There it is, an original mural. What treasures you might find during a renovation of a property of this sort that you might just want to accentuate and leave there as character to show off and preserve the property's original heritage. Now, a lot of the rooms have these separate small areas and then the main big bedrooms. What I'd be looking to do is bring that all into one and have a walk-in wardrobe area and then try and tie that into an ensuite. There are a few rooms in the property that do have wainscoting or panelling that has been added during the renovation. It's not the best job and it's definitely not original, so it'd be stripped out and redone. The property would also need a full electrical rewire and the plumbing bringing up to date, just to make sure that you don't have any problems, especially if you're going to rent it out. Unfortunately, it won't be safe, so you will have to remove every single circuit and redo it all. But at least you'll have the peace of mind that it's been done properly and you're not going to have any problems in the future. To be honest though, that's pretty standard on most renovations. It's just that on one of this size it can be quite costly. You can expect to pay anything between 150 and 300 euros per square metre just for an electrical refit, depending on the amount of circuits, switches, sockets, your lighting, that sort of thing. And if you want a smart home, the sky's the limit. Now you can see with this property there's a lot of newly built-in furniture. There's a lot of narrow corridors, and I'd be looking to open all of this up and have some grand bedrooms and beautiful ornate hallways with nice artwork and things like that. Now we're just going down the main staircase to the ground floor, and you can see one of the greatest features of this property here. Look at the front door, look at that old lock. You just don't get big locks like that anymore. Look at the size of the key, what a feature. And that door, original, and it's over the top decadence. You've got to love it, it's solid. Now around the side of the property you can see an established creeper that looks fabulous in the spring, summer and autumn. It's not ivy, so won't damage the facade. And we'll just go around the back now to see the next area of this property. Oh wow, what's this little area? It just keeps giving this property.
That's all the buyers who don't sign.
Oh wow, a wine cave.
Well,
Have we
I
got?
suggest you don't drink that wine.
Let's have a quick look in the wine cave. Hang on, have we got any wine? Hey, look, these have not opened, these bottles.
No, but I wouldn't be super confident.
No.
No. And trust me, I love wine.
You love wine. I like wine, but maybe not this wine.
And you see that's the gas heating system.
Ah, yes.
Brand new.
Brand new. Just been serviced. The Dietrich, it's a good brand,
Yeah, absolutely.
but it's just very old.
Still work.
Yeah.
It still works.
The electrics need redoing everywhere.
I know you need to.
Yeah. A toilet. Interesting.
Yep.
It was a toilet, it's not anymore.
That's the ancestor of the electric trottinette.
Yeah, trottinette.
Rolling scooter.
Interesting. What's that for?
Non, parce qu'il va faire il va rentrer après. I imagine at the time when everywhere was super well maintained. You have a bench over there. Who doesn't need a lot to be back to life, to be brought back to life. Yeah. So you have here the pigeonnier, the ancestor of the email box.
This property was just full of surprises. Here are two old pillars from what used to be one of the entrances to the property. There were other areas where they had like cobbled sections, which were obviously original, and then we had a spring which had a plaque on it dated back to 1890. There was an original tap on the spring. Just so many cool features and things that you would find and maybe take back to their original state, just to like showcase the heritage of this property. Here we are, we've got an original pond, for instance. That's fed by the spring, and then to the right there is the small staircase with a couple of posts on there from the original stonework. This deck is actually the middle deck for the garden, and then you go down and there is another deck. On that deck we found this. Now this is a original wash area for the clothing from when the property was built. And here we are on the top deck. This is a double garage that you get to from the entrance off the road. And that's everything, guys. Well, guys, what an incredible property that was. I tell you what, if Fern and I had seen that a number of years ago, we would have still been renovating that to this day. We absolutely love that type of property. It is literally as close as you can get to a chateau around here without paying for a chateau. It's an old 19th century Bastide perfumer's house, not many left in this area, overlooking the whole of the Côte d'Azur. Didn't have a sea view, but it had a gorgeous view of Grasse and the surrounding areas. Absolutely stunning. Honestly, get me there. I'll buy it tomorrow. Not really, actually. Unfortunately though, that is not the right property for us because it's just too much work at this stage. The property is on the market for €990,000. So you've got €1 million there. I think personally it'll take €2,000 per square metre to renovate. So it's a 350 square metre property, that's €700,000. On top of that, you've got all the exterior to do. You've got the facade, you've got the shutters. It's gorgeous, it's beautiful, it's there. It's a perfect canvas, but it's not the right first project for us. And that's because we could end up with an investment that we can't sell fast enough to then go on and do another project. For me, that's a 2-year project. That's a 2-year turnaround before you start seeing a return on your investment. We don't have that sort of time. It's not the right time to purchase that property. But wow, what an opportunity for the right buyer. Honestly, I cannot give it enough credit for its characteristics. It is absolutely gorgeous. It's just got these beautiful original features everywhere. It's exactly what you think you're going to buy when you move to France. It's France in a property in a gorgeous area. So here's a little bit more on the location of the property. You can actually walk into the city centre of Grasse from where the property is, yet it still has these amazing views. That in itself is very, very rare. Usually with a property like that, and a view like that, you'd be in your car all the time because you have to drive everywhere to the nearest supermarket, just everywhere. You always seem like you're always in the car, just like we were when we lived in L'Aurore. But now, after seeing that property, you can actually have both. And I didn't realise that was a possibility. The property itself is beautiful, the facade, the interior, but not just that, it's got quite a lot of land with it, around about 2,500 square metres, which is perfect if you want to add a pool. You're on multi-level, so you wouldn't need to have the pool on the same level as the house. You could drop it down a deck and then have it on the lower level, so it's actually not within sight of the main front entrance of the house. And I'm pretty sure that you would get planning for that because it is such a large space and you have your proximity from the perimeter of the property. Another option with that property is it used to have access from the road below. So when you drive up to the property, you actually saw it in its grandeur from the road below. They've changed that now. You enter from the rear, so it's not got the same sort of feels, but you could potentially open that road back up and then start to see the property from the front side again. This property is on a fosse septique or septic tank, which probably doesn't conform because they don't anymore. It came with the property, was built hundreds of years ago, but it is possible to connect this property to the mains, which is not too expensive, and because it's gravity fed, there's no need for a pump or anything like that. The soil stack will just go straight into the main road and everything will be gravity fed quite easy. In France, it's not always possible to connect your property to the mains because there isn't a main road close enough. So it is a luxury to have a property that is on a fosse septique that you can connect to the mains quite easily, and it should be quite a cost-effective process because it is gravity fed. If you are an international buyer and you are looking for a property and you have children, then this property is located particularly close to one of the CIV schools. Now, if you're not aware of the CIV schools, these are kind of grammar schools. They're a school that are for more academic children who are looking for a bilingual education, and they give your child a private education for a fraction of the cost because they are a grammar type school. So you have to pass a test to get in. And luckily, this property is located close to the Fenelon school in Grasse. 1 minute.
Well guys, what an absolutely gorgeous day viewing a stunning Bastide in Grasse. Now there's lots more of that to come on Ryan's channel, but he needs your help. Let us know in the comments down below what you'd like to see more of. Do you like what we've shown you today? Do you want to see apartments in the city, by the sea? Do you want to see rural villas? Do you want to see, I don't know, we know what we're kind of looking for, but we'd also like to take you along on this journey and give things back to you. All we need is you to click that subscribe button. It's completely free, help the channel grow. We need your support and we're looking forward to sharing this exciting journey with you. See you in the next one. Just like that.